Hey guys, it's Heart, and today I am bringing you things you should never do to your dolls. Number 4, I think. You guys really like this series, so I am going to try to keep making it, but obviously I'm gonna run out eventually because there's only so many things you should never do to your dolls, but well, I'll try to make it work. Also, I'm sitting on a squeaky chair. Sorry. Hopefully it's not too distracting, but let's get into it. The first thing you should never do is not really a never thing. If you can, buy your doll in store rather than online, just because you can see if the doll has minor flaws. For example, one eye being higher than the other, less face coloring, etc. How the eyes open and close, if there's some sort of flaw in the eyelashes. There's just a bunch of super small things that you won't be able to see online, obviously, because they have that one stock picture and then they just have a bunch of dolls that they send to you. And in store, you can actually see all the different dolls that you're choosing from, and sometimes they vary. Well, they always vary a little bit because no doll is exactly the same, like snowflakes. But yeah, so if you can buy your doll in store, obviously this is not possible for everybody, but also if you do order online and you notice a flaw, don't be afraid to be a little Karen for a second and call in and just ask if you could get a replacement. I'm not sure how good AG is about doing that, but I'm sure that they're pretty understanding, and either way, it's just a tiny flaw, but this is just a little thing that if you can, get it in store. Next is never use super glue to glue a wig back on, and if you need to take the wig off, it will likely rip because super glue is super strong. So I always recommend using tacky glue because it is strong enough to hold the wig on, but also if you ever need to take it off again, it won't rip the wig and you can reuse the wig. And sometimes super glue is just way too strong. It will rip the lining of the wig and make it hard to use again. So if you can, use tacky glue. It's super cheap, it's super easy to find, so if you can, do it. Next is if you're adding blush or any coloring to your doll's face, never use acrylic paint without diluting it. This is because it will be way too opaque and will not look natural. Water works completely fine. You just want to get it so that it's not completely opaque as the acrylic paint itself, because that will just look so unnatural and it will look like dolls wearing clown makeup. So just always dilute it. Water works, and be a little bit less generous than normal when you're applying it to your doll's face, because it will go on a lot stronger than you expect it to. And yes, you can always take it off, but it's easier to get it done like first try and not have to wipe it off several times to get it right. If you're ever adding coloring to your doll's face, make sure to dilute it first. Next is don't throw away your doll boxes. They will come in handy if you ever move, need to store or sell your dolls, and you can value a doll at a higher price if it comes with its original box. So this is kind of a given, but I know a lot of people who actually do throw away their doll boxes. I keep every single doll box that I've ever gotten, and yes, it's a lot. Yes, it's a pain to store because they're big and not collapsible, but if you need to store your dolls, if you're moving, whatever, if you sell them, it is so handy to have doll boxes because it's just much easier to put them in their boxes, to move them, and it will keep them nice and like new. Also, when you're selling your dolls, if you ever end up selling them, you can value them at higher prices because they come with their original box, and it's just more of an experience overall. And also, like for rare dolls, most of their boxes are one of a kind. Like the Girl of the Year dolls have special boxes for each of them, so that is very nice to have. Especially if somebody who's a collector is buying your doll, they would love to have the box as well. So keep your boxes. It's tough to store them, but it will pay off. Next is don't use strong cleaning products on your doll. It will remove some of their coloring and overall wears down at the vinyl. I personally like to use magic erasers if I'm looking for a kind of deep clean, but also just like a warm soapy water mixture works perfectly fine for just like cleaning off overall residue or dirt or whatever is on your doll. They're vinyl, and that just is so much safer than using like any harsh cleaning product, like I don't know, like Windex. Don't ever use it on your doll. It will take the coloring off, and obviously over time the coloring on your doll will fade a little bit because that's just the normal wear of like using your dolls, but to preserve it longer, just use like warm soapy water or a magic eraser occasionally, but don't use those too often. Lastly, don't send your doll to the doll hospital without researching whether or not you could do it yourself. The doll hospital is very expensive and you will save a lot of money if you do things yourself. So obviously this doesn't go for everybody. If you don't have experience in fixing your doll, I would probably recommend sending it to the hospital, but also if it's just something like recurling her hair or something like that, I have videos on my channel on how you can do it. You can easily teach yourself. This was more of a major thing, but I got a doll one time whose arm was completely chewed up by a dog, and I actually replace the arm myself. And I didn't really think I could do it, but I did. So just kind of research beforehand. If you can do it yourself, you will probably save so much money. The doll hospital is super expensive, plus you'll have to part with your doll for a really long time. And also there are parts on eBay that are super cheap. I got a new doll arm for I think like 10 bucks. So you can really find anything on eBay, and I would just advise to try to do it yourself. But also if you think it's a big risk and it's something that you don't want to take the risk on, feel free to send it to the hospital. I'm not here saying that you should never ever send your doll to the doll hospital, because I think in some cases it may be good. But for me personally, I just know that I wouldn't spend the money on it because I have kind of history in fixing up dolls and everything, so I kind of know how to do it myself. But again, if you're younger, ask a parent for help if you want them to help you fix your doll, or, you know, send to the doll hospital. So those are all the things I have for today. I will try to come up with more ideas, but yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. I will try to help you out, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!